I was always asked, would you do the sequel to Trainspotting and would you play Obi-Wan Kenobi again? That was always the end of every interview I did for years. I think there's got to be a good story between episode 3 and episode 4. Alec Guinness was British, so they were looking for somebody to play him. And I think I remember the last sort of screen test when it was down to me and a couple of other people. And they had us come in and actually shoot some scenes with George. I think I was shooting the film Velvet Goldmine when I found out that I had got the part. And then I remember going to Leavesden where we shot the first episode and having to sit and read the script in the producer's office, locked in, you know. They were so secretive about the whole thing. And then walking around with George and him showing me around the sets, and I remember that quite clearly.
Anakin Skywalker, meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hi.
I started with Alec Guinness for sure. I don't try and do sort of an impersonation of him. I couldn't do a sort of an Alec Guinness impersonation because it wouldn't have worked. I had to be like this young guy running around fighting and flying spaceships, and I had to be the you know, not the sage, not the wise man, but the trainee, the student. So I made it feel like Alec Guinness. I mean, I hope it feels a bit like him. And then I guess I have to keep playing that guy. So, but I hear him in my head. I think that's the truth, is I hear Alec Guinness, and in this I was closer to him, so there's a couple of things that he does that I copy.
Hello there.
Hello there. There's some little moments that I feel are very specifically Alec Guinness things that he does as Obi-Wan Kenobi that I try and mimic a little bit in this series, more than I did in episode 3, you know.
I will do what I must.
You will try.
I was always asked, would you do Trainspotting, the sequel to Trainspotting, and would you play Obi-Wan Kenobi again? That was always the end of every interview I did for years. I just answered it so many times that eventually Disney asked me to come in, and I had a meeting with Kiri from Lucasfilm, and she asked me, do you mean it? Is it true? And I said, yeah, I think there's got to be a good story between episode 3 and episode 4.
Are you going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again?
Yes. It was a process from then, you know, of discussion, and then we had different writers, and the storyline was this way one day, and then it changed to being a different storyline, and all the while it was sort of evolving, and so I was always involved along that process. So yeah, it wasn't like something that existed that they invited me into. You know, I was part of it all the way along, which is cool.
When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father?
The lightsaber training we did with Nick Gillard for episode 1 to 3. I mean, the fighting from those original 3 movies, it's so much better, isn't it? You think about it, in our ones, in their prequels. But because it was like taken really seriously, and we had all these we sort of developed a style of fighting, its own little martial art now, you know, the lightsaber fight. And with Jojo, who did the fight arranging for this one, he took it even further. Like, he took our fighting style from those first 3 movies and he developed it in a very thoughtful way for somebody who's like Obi-Wan, who's older, and so who would probably fight in a slightly different way, you know, somebody in his 50s than somebody in their 20s. So the most intense moments are the fights, you know, the just physically, and you know, they're choreographed. They're like a dance. They're something you have to learn. And if you make a mistake, you're going to get hurt. You know, we always get hurt, like on our fingers, and you know, we can't help but hit each other's knuckles and stuff. That's just par for the course. But if you really screw up, you could hurt yourself a lot. You know, like when Hayden and I were fighting with metal poles, and after every take we had bent them. But if you messed up and you got hit on the head with those, it's like, it could be quite a problem. So everything's heightened, you know, you're remembering the choreography, but it's so fast you can't really be thinking what's next. You just have to have it like a dance in your bones. You just have to know it. Fighting each other is fun. It was fun, yeah. So those would probably be the highlights. You know, all of the end fight in episode 3 with Hayden is pretty awesome, and then in episode 1 the scene with Darth Maul, you know, and fighting with Liam, and then fighting with Maul on my own, that fight was pretty full on.